In my last video, I talked about the decision between one big power station or multiple small power stations. I think fear of missing out is getting the best of me. What up, y'all? This is I from Ask I Solar, where I like to keep solar simple. I go back and forth about a lot of things, and I'm really going back and forth between whether I should keep these two devices or whether I should return them. And the main culprit is this EB70 by Bluetti that's coming out at the end of the month. All right, so I set up this premise, and I think it was a bit of a false premise, which is this idea of should I have one big device or should I have multiple small devices? But that's not necessarily true in my situation because I have other portable power stations. But the premise of the question was still accurate. It was like, you know, do you get one beastie one or do you have multiple small ones? But when I think about it, I have multiple small ones. They're not ones that I'm particularly super fond of as the landscape of portable power stations kind of change and shifts and improves. And that EB70 kind of has me wondering like, yeah, man, I should return both of these and just put that money towards that one. Now, let me talk about the two separate devices, the AC30. The two most compelling things about the AC30 is one, it takes 150 watts in of solar, and two, it's a LiFePro battery. That's pretty much it for that device. There are no other pros in my opinion. Now the GoLabs R300, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man, I'm struggling to send that one back. The AC30, it could get gone. My country Wayne voice. The R300, man, I like so many things about that little device. It gives me a solar readout. It has a lantern on it and not a flashlight. It is 300 watts. It costs $200. It has a 60 watt power delivery port. It has a 30 watt power delivery port. The 60 watt power delivery port has bi-directional charging. It's just like, it's a nice little device. I really like that thing. Now, there are some things that give me cause for pause for keeping it. One, I won't necessarily need it, but because I have it and it's so close to how much I pay for my Bodans, it's like my Bodans kind of takes a back seat, and I want to have a little small portable LiFePro battery that I could carry around. I still like my Bodans, to be honest with you. The cons. I have to be concerned about longevity with that R300. I have seen YouTube videos of people having issues with their display screens, and their display screens kind of getting, essentially, for lack of a better term, burn-in, like a number burns in on there, and it only affects it at certain points and so on and so forth. I am also concerned, I'm just kind of pulling this out of the air, that sometimes it gets an over voltage alert because some solar panels put out like about 23 volts or 22 volts depending on the intensity of the sun, and that one kind of you can't go over like 22 or 21 or something like that. It's a very small margin of error. It might be 23. My 50 watt Renogy panel sometimes causes the GoLabs to have that E09 error, which is essentially like the voltage is too high. It sits there for a second, things kind of settle down, and then it starts charging again. Here's another reason that has me compelled to just go ahead and send it back. I own the EcoFlow River, so I would essentially have a second device. It's not LiFePro though. I'm having a bit of buyer's remorse on that one, but this video is not about that. So I will have the EcoFlow River and I will have the EB70. So I have two power stations. I still own the Rock Pals and I still own the Bodens. So I'm really having a hard time keeping those things, but I like that. I like that R300 so much, man. Dang, what should I do? I'm pretty sold on, actually, if I have a bit of a confession, I kind of want to send the AC30 back, keep the GoLabs, and still get the EB70. I don't know how my wife is going to feel about that, but that's the plan in my mind. I have like about 2 weeks to decide, and then the EB70 comes out before that. So I have a little bit of cushion. I think once I get the EB70, or even possibly once I get my EcoFlow River back, that's another story. Stay tuned for that video. I think I'll be more, I don't know, man. But anyway, I think I will be more in line with sending both of them back. I'm probably just going to send them both back anyway, but I'm a weigh my options kind of guy, and I'm really intentional about it, sometimes to the dismay of my wife, who just, sometimes she gets tired of talking about this stuff. Well, she hasn't displayed that. That's not true of her. The AC30, I'm good on that one, man. That one can go back. Not a problem. The R300, it's a bit more of a struggle for me to send that one back because I like that 300 watt pure sine wave inverter compared to my Bowden's, which doesn't have a pure sine wave inverter, which is kind of why I like that GoLabs. I keep forgetting that Bowden's does not have a pure sine wave inverter. I guess a little tip, always get a pure sine wave inverter. I mean, at this point in the solar generator / portable power stations, there aren't many devices that don't come with pure sine wave inverters. So you don't have that much to worry about, but 400 coming back to me possibly to go towards the EB70, or 200 coming back to me to possibly go towards the EB70. Here's a little secret. I talked to my wife about this and she doesn't seem too fazed about it overall. So she may be okay with me keeping the GoLabs R300 and not really sweating it. You know, I don't buy a whole lot of stuff, so she's kind to me in that regard, and that she doesn't give me a hard time about wanting to make purchases and stuff like that. So I wouldn't actually end up with having one beastie device. I would have my EB70, which would be the mother of all devices. It has pretty much everything that I'm looking for in a portable power station outside of USB PD charging. That's the one thing that it's missing. I'm also not crazy about the barrel port, but anyway, I would have that one. I would also have my EcoFlow River 600. And then I still have my Rock Pals and my Bowden's. And luckily, fingers crossed, I'll still have the GoLabs. All right, Saab holla.